Welcome back everyone. We're just doing a bit of work on fractions, and this time around we're working on mixed numbers. And the skill today, or in this video, is taking, say you've got three parts there. You've got the whole number, and then you've got the fraction part of the number. And maybe you need to convert that into an improper fraction. And so I want to show you how to do that, and I also want to show you the reverse. And finally, there's another little trick that guys don't see very often. Is if they've got a whole number, I want to show you today a little trick where you can express that whole number as a fraction. And that's really important for some of the work that's coming along with either multiplying fractions or dividing fractions. Now, we're going to convert mixed numbers. I'm going to write this down here, mixed number. And a good way to think about this is we're going to put a whole number in the box, and then we've got the fraction part here. So there is a button on your calculator that looks exactly like this and allows you to input a mixed number into the calculator. And we're going to convert between mixed numbers and improper fractions. And the thing to remember here is that the numerator is always going to be the larger number, if you like. Okay, so let's try with a few examples. Let's have a look at this example here. We've got 4 2/3. First thing I want to do is just put it on a number line, I guess. And here's 4, here's 5 as whole numbers. And I want you to focus in. 2/3 means we have to cut this number line into thirds, basically. So here's 4 1/3, here's 4 2/3. So there's our number there. Now, what we want to do is take this 4 and turn it into not a whole number, but an equivalent fraction over 3. So to do that, we can just go 4 times 3. And 4 is equal to 12 on 3. And we wanted another 2/3 there, so plus 2/3. And we can set it up like this and get our answer as 14 over 3 as an improper fraction. Now, that works, all right, but if you can see that, then there's every chance you might see this way of working. We know the denominator is going to be 3. And my eyes here are looking at the denominator and the whole number, and I'm thinking 4 times 3 plus whatever's up here. So in this case, the 4 times 3 is 12, plus 2 is equal to 14. And so I know in one move, I've got an equivalent improper fraction as 14 over 3. So let's try another number here and let's try a couple and see how we go. I've got 5 2/8, and I know if I follow this process, I know my denominator is going to be 8. So I'm thinking here 5 times 8 is 40. Plus the 2 that's already there. And here's another way to set it up. This is going to be 42 over 8. Maybe there's the opportunity here to do some work, because I can see that they're both even numbers. So that could be the same thing as 21 over 4 if you're asked to simplify. Okay, you may not be asked to, and it may be maybe okay to leave it in this form here. So just be careful what the question says. And I've got another number here, 4 and 5 twelfths. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to set this up. I know my denominator is 12. That doesn't change. 4 times 12 is 48, plus another 5. And now I add those together and I'm at 53 over 12. Now there's not much I can do there, so there's my answer, and I'll leave it in this form here. Sometimes that works out better, just depending on what you're asked to do. What I'll do now is just clean the board, and we'll come back and talk about converting improper fractions into mixed numbers. We're back, and now we've got some improper fractions. Remember, the numerator is larger than the denominator, and now we want to turn it back into a mixed number. So this will be equal to, I'm looking at 10. I normally don't do it this way, but I'm looking at 10 is equal to 8 plus 2. And that helps me because I'm thinking now 4 goes into 8 twice, and then you've got that 2 left over. So this is the same thing as 2 and 2/4. Now you can simplify the fraction part of this mixed number to 1 on 4. 2 on 4 is the same thing as a half. What I normally do, I pause there because I look at this as 10 over 4, and I see an opportunity to simplify before I do the work. And I can see 2 is a common factor, and 2 goes in here twice and goes in here 5 times. So I've still got another improper fraction, but it's simplified. And this makes life easier because I can just see that when I think about how many times 2 goes into 5, the answer there is 2 and 1 left over, so that's 2.5. So I just encourage you to see, if you see the opportunities, like here's another example just to reinforce that point, 28 over 10. We can write that as 2 and 8 over 10 because I saw 20 plus 8 there, so I knew 10 was going to go in twice. Or I'm just going to put a comma here and rewrite it out again. What I saw was the chance here, because they're both even numbers, 2 goes into 10 5 times and 2 goes into 28 14 times. So I've got an equivalent fraction, 14 over 5, and this will simplify to 2 4/5. Okay, and we could have come back here and tidied up that that part of the fraction in our answer as well if we're asked to write it in simplest form. So just one more example here. We've got 40 over 15. I can think about this as how many times does 15 to go into 40, and we're going to have, like, perhaps do this 30 plus 15. That's going to work out nice. 10 over 15, and this is going to be 2 and 10 over 15. And we can tidy this up. 5 goes in here 3 times, 5 goes in here twice, so we can rewrite this as 2 and 2/3. Again, just writing this out, I think I've got room down the bottom here. I was thinking about this. I see my eyes are drawn to the 0 and the 5, and I know 5 will go into both those numbers, and 5 goes into 40 8 times, and 5 goes into 15 3 times, and here we're left with the same thing. I'm looking at 8 thinking 3 will go in twice and there'll be 2 left over, so we'll have 2 2/3 as our answer. Sometimes, like I'm just encouraging you to cancel down. And if I was doing this on the page myself, I would be doing something, making some marks like this so I can see the original numbers, but thinking about how many times 5 goes into there. And then I've got those numbers there, I'm looking at them, and I'd probably just write that as 2 2/3 to get my answer in one move. But I understand we can take more steps if we need them. Thank you.